G'day everyone, welcome to our gear workout number 2. Of course, get your dead ball, kettlebell and band ready for this session because we're going to be using those bits, basically everything that we've got in this session. Also, grab yourself a nice sturdy chair because one of the exercises requires us to have a chair just to help out the movement. And the other thing you'll need is some masking tape. If you haven't done the squares or you haven't used one of our squares before, we will be doing that in our conditioning round. So get yourself some masking tape that is low stick, that's not going to leave any residue on the carpet or the floor. I get the blue stuff because it just peels up nice and easy at the end of it, or you can just leave it down. We do use the squares quite a lot in our boot camp and in our other sessions. Anyway guys, without further ado, we're going to jump into our warm-up. So get that band ready and we'll get warming up. To get things going, grab your band and double it over, and from there we're going to take it from the front of the hip to the back side and then bring it back and retract. So good old circle retracts, taking it from the front of the hip with nice straight arms and drawing down and back in the middle. So going for a set of 5 of our circle retracts. Remember, the closer your hands are together on the band, the more stretch you'll get. And as we draw that band down and back, really squeeze those shoulder blades together at the back. Try to basically pinch your shirt between your shoulder blades as you go. Cool, so once we do a set of 5, I think that's 5, we're going to move into some presses. So stepping into the loop, we want to stay nice and tall and we want to bring that band underneath the chin. From there we're pressing out as tall as we can. Bring it back underneath the chin. Try to control it just so it doesn't flick around and roll off the arms. Pressing tall, going for a set of 10 reps. Reaching high to the sky. Then stepping out of our band, we're going to go some high-lows next. So similar to our band retracts in our circles. Grabbing hold of the band looped over, we're going to go one arm high, one arm low. The low arm close to the body, the high arm close to the ear. Working for a set of 10, 5 per side. Staying tall. Minimize how much the body twists as we draw those arms back. Once we finish our high-lows for a set of 10, stepping back into that loop, we're going to set our stance to around about shoulder width and we're going to pull the band onto the chest. Pushing back through the hips, we're going to stand up tall with a nice strong line from head to hip. So side on, of course, we push our bum back to the wall behind us, bending and extending nice and strongly through those hips. So remember, we don't want to round and drop the shoulders. We keep the shoulders locked into place. We're working for a set of 10 there. Next up, guys, we're going to move to some bent rows. So placing the band around the wrists, we're going to step into the loop, or I always say stepping onto the band, not into the loop. Then we push our hips back, hold tight and pull the band towards the stomach or to the belly button really. From the side on, you'll notice I've got that strong line from head to hip, slight bend at the knees, drawing the elbows nice and high as I pull down and back. Remember, not towards the chest, down, more towards the hips, working for a set of 10. Once we finish our good old bend over rows, we're then going to work some deadlifts. So keep your hands in that band in that position. Stepping back onto that band, we're just pushing back into the hips, standing up tall. So whereas before we just held that bottom position, this time we're working to that position, then standing up tall again. So once again, sideways on, pushing back, standing up tall, pushing back, standing up tall, locking in that shoulder, working for a set of 10 reps. Once we finish there, we're going to work some punches. So grabbing or placing the band around the back, underneath the arms. We're going to press out, double punch. Right on the ends of the band is easier than further up the band. Thumbs up to palms down as we punch out. Working for a set of 10 reps with our punches. As soon as we finish that 10th rep of punches, we're going to take the band back down to the floor for some sumos. So for sumos, we go a nice wide stance. Reaching down, we grab both bands, locking in those shoulders once again. We push the knees away and we sink down through the hips in that wide deadlift position. Working for a set of 10 reps. And then we're going to work into a nice little combo, or I should say 3 exercises, working for 3 rounds. Everything is going to be 10. So once we finish our 10 sumos, stepping out of our band, there's basically 2 versions that we can do, either single strand or our double strand. I'll go with our double strand. Single strand for our beginners, and of course double strand for everyone else. Guys, don't drag your feet when you do this one. Basically, you want to set up in a nice shoulder width stance. This is called in and out. Foot comes in, foot goes out. In and out. Bringing one foot into the midline, then back out again without touching the ground. Keeping the knees out, we're working 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 3 for a set of 10. As soon as we finish that set of 10, just stepping out of our band, just shake it out because those hips are probably burning at this point. We're going to take this down to the ground. So we're going to hold the band on the floor, basically kind of in this position. So moving down to the ground, I step in and I kind of want to place the middle of the foot into the band. So I'm stepping into the loop with the band basically running around that leg, and I'm basically holding the band to the floor. In that quadruped position, hands underneath the shoulders, knees underneath the hips, I'm going to kick the leg out behind me with a good old kick back. Keeping the foot flat as I lead with the heel, nice and steady. If you let the leg kick up too high, the band's going to come off your foot. So you've got to keep your foot and the leg, I should say, nice and level. Working for a set of 10 on one side before we change it out. Just swapping it out, placing it around the foot, middle of the foot, then place that band into the hands once again, then kicking out, holding steady as I kick straight out behind me, balancing and stabilizing as I go, working for a set of 10. Cool? Then last of all in the set, working some squat presses. So we're going to step into our band, about a shoulder width stance, band underneath the chin, and we squat down, we press out. Elbows nice and high as we squat, pressing out, working for a set of 10. And there are 3 exercises that we're doing for 3 rounds. Working good old in-outs for our 10. Remember, in our in-outs, we can either go double strand, I'll show you the single strand variation. So stepping into the loop, nice wide stance, from there, moving in, moving out. Cool, that's the easier version than the other one. 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 3 for 10. Then kickbacks for a set of 10 per side. And then of course our squat press for a set of 10. Get 3 rounds of that done and we'll move into our good old activation set. For our activation today, guys, we're going to do a little bit of traveling. We will do 3 exercises for 3 rounds, but what you want is to space yourself out. Maybe it's in the living room, maybe it's in the hallway, maybe you've got set up outside, but you want about 4 meters to work with in this particular set. Also, we are going to be doing some squat throws, so make sure there's nothing breakable around that could be hit by your dead ball. You can do this inside. It's probably better to do it outside, but you can do it inside. You can make it work. If you've got those floorboards that kind of shake and stuff like that, just be mindful that with the ball being thrown backwards and forwards, then you may end up with things vibrating off shelves and stuff like that. So just be mindful of the space that you have. Cool? Guys, to kick things off, we will be, or I should say in this set, we will be using our good old dead ball and our band. We will start off with our dead ball, so I'll start out there. We're going to be doing 5 squat throws. So I've set this up, so I'm going to walk out to the side. I'm just going to work between my little training bags here. So from here, I reach down, I pick my ball up onto the chest, I squat down, and from there, without jumping forwards, I'm basically throwing the ball out to that 4 meter point. Cool? So rolling it out, nice tall posture, I pick the ball up on the chest, squatting down and send it over to the other side. We're just working forwards and back, just working for 5 reps there. As soon as we finish our 5 reps, We then grab our band. We're going to work some rotations. So stepping into our band, nice wide stance is what we want. We hold the band with straight arms. We turn the body, bringing the band up to shoulder level. Cool? Turn and twist with the hips. Working for 10 reps. Guys, on the end of the band is easier than grabbing further down the band. So just choose down the band is going to be a lot more challenging than if you grab further up the band. So just feel it out. You'll do 10 on one side before you change it out. Swapping it over to the other foot, and from there, rotating up, rotating around that central axis. Once again, 10 per side with our band rotations. Last of all, good old dead ball crawl is our next one, working between our points. I set myself up on the ground in that, basically our same position that I was in the kickback. I move down into that quadruped. I push the ball, keeping the hips low, knees close to the ground. I work my way up 4 meters. I turn around, working back 4 meters. Now, with this dead ball crawl, I'm going to do 2 laps. So turning around once again, I travel up, keeping those hips nice and low, giving that ball a shove, turning. Once I get to that point, I push it back to the starting point, which will give me my 2 laps. Cool? Then we just go back to the start. We've got our squat throws for a set of 5, band rotations, 10 per side, and then of course our good old dead ball crawl, up, back, back. So 3 rounds will get us done and lead us into our strength set. Coming up in our strength round, guys, we're going to be doing our 3 exercises with our kettlebell. Guys, we're going to be working some rack squats, some plank rows, and some halos in this particular set. We're going to be doing 5 rounds. Now I'm going to go over the particulars of the rack squat first. Basically, this is the rack position is the central position to all of our kettlebell work that we can do. Whether we're doing floor cleans, whether we're doing swing cleans, we're doing snatch work. There's a multitude of different exercises that require a nice, strong rack position. Cool? Rack position, we've done this a couple of times in class, but I'll go over the particulars. Cool? The way we set this up, basically, shoot out your thumb like you're giving someone a good old thumbs up. Cool? So I'm going to be working with my right arm here in this case. What I do is I bring in my hand so that my thumb touches my sternum. At the same time, I pull my arm in against my rib cage. Now, I don't have to keep my thumb pressed against my sternum. Cool? It's just to give the distance. You don't clutch the kettlebell against the chest and against the body. A little bit of space, but the arm needs to be as close to the body as possible. Cool? We don't shoot the arm out and we don't rack the kettlebell like this. The arm sits across the body. Basically, our thumb is in line with that sternum. So really, what I'm doing is I'm creating a cradle for the kettlebell to sit in. This V here is where that kettlebell sits. So when I pick my kettlebell up, I place the kettlebell into that V so that the handle sits diagonally across the wrist. You can see I can still touch my thumb to my sternum. I grip the kettlebell nice and tight with a nice straight wrist. So one of the things you really want to focus on is don't let the wrist just kick back and be lazy. We want to keep the wrist straight, as if you're throwing a punch, as if you're throwing that thumbs up, nice straight wrist. So always keep an eye out for that straight wrist position. Also, kettlebell diagonally across that handle, right across the palm. Cool? Not through the fingers or through the top part of the hand. So what I mean by that is we don't have the kettlebell up there. We turn it right across the palm and we sit that kettlebell in close against the body. Cool? Safest place for the shoulder, strongest place for the shoulder. Then from there, in a nice tall body position, we squat, stand up tall. Working for 5 reps, keeping the arm as close to the body as we can. Working for 5, I think that was 3, 4, and 5. Control it down to the ground, then reset onto the other side. Nice strong position, straight wrist, all those key points, elbow tucked in. We squat down, nice and tall. Squeeze the handle of the kettlebell. Think that's 4. 1 more, 5. Control it back down to the ground. That's our rack squat. So just remember, arm in nice and close against the body, thumb space with the hand between the hand and the sternum, and then from there, keep that arm active. So then when we squat, the elbow sits inside the thighs at the bottom, not touching the thighs and not out to the side. Cool? 5 per side. If you really struggle with that, hold the kettlebell on the chest in the goblet position and work a set of 10. Next exercise is a plank row. So we're going to set up on our chair. So bring your chair in, and from there we place our kettlebell on the floor next to the chair. Then we set up in the high plank position on the chair. What we're doing, guys, there is, I might bring this back just a little bit more. Balancing and supporting our weight over or having our shoulder over our hand. Nice wide body foot position. And we pull the kettlebell back into the hip pocket, working for a set of 8 reps. Cool? 8 on one side, change it up. 8 on the other side. If you do struggle with this one, just bring your feet in so there's more bend in the knees, and we've got this nice, still this nice strong line from head to hip. Cool? This just shortens the lever and just less demand on the core and the body holding that position. This is more of a supported row versus full plank row. So just adjust your body position depending on if you're a beginner or if you do struggle with that plank variation. Cool? So remember, hold those hips steady, lock the legs tight, rowing the kettlebell in towards the hip. 8 on one side, 8 on the other. Then last of all, guys, halos. The way the halo works is we hold the kettlebell upside down, we feed it around down the back, bring it back in. So we keep it nice and close. Basically that kettlebell revolves in a halo around the head. Cool? What people tend to do is they tend to lift the kettlebell high, and it's like, creates this weird oval shape. Really, we're just drawing a circle around at eye level. So what this looks like is, kettlebell comes up onto the chest. From here, feed it around and down, and then back into the front without moving your head. Keep going around. You're going to go 5 one way. 2, 3, hold the hips steady. 4 and 5. Then back the other way. 1, feed the kettlebell down. 2, 3, 4, head forwards and straight, and 5. Bring it down. Now, if you find that the weight of your kettlebell is too much, then grab yourself a lighter object. Grab yourself like a bag of rice, a water bottle or something like that, and feed the same, work that same pattern. Halos are great for shoulder mobility and also core strength and stability. Cool? So remember, hold your hips steady, keep the body as still like a statue as you feed the kettlebell around the head. Cool? So once again, 5 per side. Guys, remember, rack squats, 5 per side, plank rows, 8 per side, halos, 5 per side. Complete 5 rounds, and then you're ready to move on and into our conditioning round. For our conditioning set today, folks, I've got a little something that I like to call the EMOM Survival Challenge. Now, this is very similar. We've done this a couple of times in our regular boot camp sessions, and as we start to get into it, you'll probably go, oh, I remember that. That was kind of tough. Anyway, guys, this is a little EMOM, so every minute on the minute. Being a survival challenge, basically it starts out and you'll be kind of like, oh, this isn't so bad. But as you work your way in, the rest period gets shorter and shorter and shorter and shorter. You guys are here to survive and see how far and how deep into the set that you can actually go. So what we want to know is what minute or how long can you survive for? If you are still starting to or still doing reps as the minute clicks over into the next, you're out. That's it, time is over. So you want to try to get as deep as you can. Now you've only got 2 exercises to worry about. This is where we need our square. So 40 centimetre square on the floor, set that up, use your low tack masking tape just so you can peel it up afterwards, and you'll need your dead ball. Now the other thing that I'll suggest, especially if you're on a hard floor, if you're on concrete, make sure if you are on concrete, we don't want stones. We don't want our ball slamming on the stones because you run the risk of puncturing the ball. The best thing to do is create a little slam pad with a towel. So get a nice big towel, double it over and create a little square, nice little pad, and chuck that down because that's going to be your slam. You're basically going to slam the ball on that. It's basically just keeps it nice and simple. Cool? Well, it's a combo slam that we'll do. I'll explain that as we go. Guys, exercises wise, what we've got is 1, 2, 3 or 1, 2 high knees, followed by our good old squat, our dead ball combo. So, guys, we start at 2. So, 2 per side, or best way to think about this is whatever number dead ball we're doing, you just double it for the number of your 1, 2 high knees. Cool? So in the first round, it's 2s. So that means it's 4 of our high knees. So we go 1, 2, high knee 1, 2, 3, and 4. As soon as we finish there, we move to our dead ball. We pick it up onto the chest. We squat, press, and slam. Each time, pick it up tall, squat, press, slam. Cool? So that's the first round. It's 2 of our slams and 4 of our, but it's in the reverse order. So we start with the square, finish with our dead ball. So what you're going to find is in that first round, that's probably going to take all of 15, 20 seconds. Then the rest is rest. You wait until it ticks over into the second minute. Then, of course, you've got 6 1, 2 high knees, followed by our good old slams, or I should say squat, pick up, squat, press, you've got 3 of. Cool? Then in the third minute, it would be 4, and so on and so on. Just remember, whatever, just to keep things easy so you're not doing too much maths, whatever dead ball exercise number it is, you just double it for the high knees, but you do your high knee or the square first. Hopefully that makes sense. What I'm going to do is I'll just show you what this would look like. So we'll start out. So I set up that minute, I get ready, the minute goes, I go 1, 2, 3, and 4. From there, I move back to the dead ball, up, squat, press, slam, up, squat, press, slam, rest. Woo! Sweet, resting, resting, resting. Once that minute clicks over, then it's straight into the 3s. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Moving back into the dead ball, up onto the chest, squat, press, slam, up, squat, press, slam, up, squat, press, slam. Cool? So on and so on. You'll find rest period gets shorter, shorter, shorter. We want to see how many minutes can you guys survive or get to in this set. Make sense? If you've got questions, just shoot us a message and let us know. Just be mindful when you're doing your dead ball exercise, make sure you're slamming the ball between the feet. Using the slam pad gives you a target. So set your feet up on either side of that target, so then we're slamming the ball onto the towel each time. Drop the hips, lift the chest, and of course, keep the chest up as we squat, reaching out tall, really drag the ball down using those hips as you go. Cool? So let us know, how long can you survive setting up that timer? Best thing to do is start a stopwatch, have it in front of you so you can see when you go. But remember, as soon as you or that minute clicks into that next minute, and if you haven't finished doing your reps of both of those exercises, then that is time for you. Cool? That is where you made it to. Let us know. Have fun with this challenge. It can be quite spicy and quite the gasser, but we still want to know how you go with it. Whew. Whew, how'd you go with that one, folks? Man, I tell you what, that little EMOM challenge can be quite the spicy little number. Hopefully you scored nice and high on it, but granted, that heart rate is probably still way up there. Anyway, guys, we're gonna have a little stretch to finish up. Guys, use your slam towel or a towel as a bit of a pad, because we're gonna start out stretching out quads and those hip flexors. So set up your towel on the floor, nice little pad. Taking a knee, we're gonna push the hips into the stretch, dropping the hip down towards the ground, keeping that chest up, minimize how much the back arches, and we're gonna sink into that stretch, holding steady for 30 seconds. Once we hit that 30-second mark, we're gonna reach up tall, nice tall position. Whatever knee is on the ground, we're gonna lean away from it. So my left knee is on the ground, so I'm leaning to the right. Leaning over, I'm gonna hold that for 30 seconds. Breathing as I hold, and then I'm going to change it out, other side. Swapping my knees, then pushing in, dropping the hip down and forwards. The bigger the stance, the more stretch you'll get. So holding steady, 30 seconds, then reaching tall. Once again, whatever knee is on the ground, we're leaning away. So my right knee is on the ground, I'm leaning to my left. Leaning out, I'm going to hold that position for 30 seconds. Oh, and then I'm going to take a seat on the ground. So just grabbing that towel, putting it over on the side, and then just kicking out. Nice wide stance. I'm going to lean in by trying to push my elbows down to the ground, keeping that chest up. 30 seconds of stretching there. Before I lean over to the side, leaning in, trying to get that chest down towards my knee. Holding, if you can grab your toes, pull them back, stretching out those calves. Leaning into that stretch, hold for 30 seconds, and then we reach the opposite hand over the top, keeping the elbow high, like we're trying to reach down and grab that hand. That's our goal. Cool, or touch the hand. Hold, another 30 seconds, then over to the other side. Leaning in, pull the toes back if you can. 30 seconds of relaxed breathing, holding that stretch. Then bringing the arm over the top, elbow nice and high. Trying to get the hand down to the other hand. Nice big lateral bend. 30-second hold before we move back into the center. Dropping those elbows down once again. Nice steady breathing. Hold this last position, nice solid minute. And once we hit that minute, we're going to finish out with a little downward dog. So, kicking out into the top of the push-up position. From here, we're going to push back through the palms, drop the chest, drop the heels down, nice straight legs. We're going to hang out. Give yourself 5 big breaths. Then lowering to the knees, slide it through, lifting up. How high can you lift? Trying to create space between the shoulders and the ears. 5 big breaths once again. In through the nose, out through the mouth. Once you hit those 5 big breaths, lowering it down. One more time, we push back, drive those hips up, trying to get the heels down lower, chest down a bit lower as well. 5 big breaths once again before we lower down to the knees and slide it through. Lifting up tall again. Try and regulate that heart rate with 5 big breaths to finish. When you finish there, lowering down, make your way up to your feet. Whoo, and another nice little session with our gear there. Guys, I hope you enjoyed the session. Thanks, of course, for watching and sticking around. We've got so much more to come, so many more ideas to throw at you, and hopefully we'll pass this time nice and quickly so we can get you all back into the gym and having some fun back in here again. Anyway, guys, take it easy, and I'll see you next time.